Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today is a beautiful Tuesday, and I am honestly so ready to just sit down and unload all my thoughts about the absolute madness happening on our screens right now. Grab a coffee or whatever you need because we have a lot of ground to cover, and I am practically buzzing with theories. Let's just jump straight into it. So Ethan Lovett is back in Port Charles. He officially returned on the Friday, April 17 episode, and let me tell you, the energy shifted the second he walked into town. You guys know how it is when a legacy character comes back. There is always a hidden agenda. Always. And Ethan is definitely no exception to that rule. He didn't just casually stroll in to get a coffee and say hi to his family. No. The very first thing we see him do is leave this incredibly cryptic voicemail to someone completely unknown. And he literally tells this mystery person that he is in Port Charles and that he will be at the pier every single day around noon. He added that he had hopes he would see them soon. Who does that? Who sets up a daily noon meeting at the pier unless they are involved in something incredibly shady. The pier is basically the international headquarters for shady deals in this town. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm being too harsh and he just really likes looking at the water. Okay, that sounded dramatic, but you get what I mean. Ethan has always been a con artist, but right now he's giving off major desperation vibes. But then the show didn't waste any time having him bump into his sister. Lulu Spencer had a quickie reunion with him, and honestly, her reaction was everything I was feeling. Lulu didn't just hug him and say, "Welcome home," with a big smile. Her immediate first question was asking who he is running from this time. She knows him. She knows her brother so well. Lulu is currently dealing with her own massive nightmare trying to keep Rocco's secret about shooting Ross Cullum under wraps. The last thing she needs is Ethan bringing more heat to her doorstep. But Ethan just kind of brushed it off. He is playing it cool, way too cool, which is exactly why I am sitting here staring at my screen and thinking that Ethan Lovett is completely compromised. He is compromised, you guys. I can feel it in my bones. He has that look in his eye like a guy who is backed into a corner and doesn't know how to fight his way out without getting his hands really dirty. He is running from something or someone, or maybe he is running right into a trap on purpose. Then we get to the Monday, April 20 episode. Ethan has this flirty little catch-up session with Christina Corinthos Davis. And let's be real, the chemistry is still there. It is definitely still there. Christina was crushing on him so hard years ago when she was dealing with the trauma of her abusive relationship with Kiefer Bauer. Ethan was so protective of her back then. He put her in the friend zone, but now they are both older and the vibe is definitely shifting. But during their conversation, Christina points out something so crucial that I almost missed it the first time I watched the scene. She brings up her dad. She brings up Sonny Corinthos and how Sonny has this very specific, very intense hiring process. Sonny needs to know his employees are trustworthy. He puts them through loyalty tests. He makes them prove themselves over and over again. But Christina casually mentions that because Sonny knows Ethan, and because Ethan is Luke Spencer's son, Ethan wouldn't have to go through those same loyalty tests. And that right there is a smoking gun. That is the red flag waving aggressively in our faces. Sonny Corinthos is a paranoid mob boss who literally trusts no one right now. Jen Sidwell is breathing down his neck, blaming him for Marco Rios' death, blaming him for Jordan Ashford's car crash. Justine Turner is warning Sonny that his life is in grave danger. Sonny is surrounded by enemies on all sides. But he is just going to blindly trust Ethan Lovett because of Luke. What were they thinking? What is Sonny thinking? It is so incredibly naive for a guy who has survived in the mob this long. But Sonny has a massive blind spot when it comes to his history and his old friends. He looks at Ethan and he sees Luke. He doesn't see a potential threat. He sees family. He sees someone he doesn't need to vet. And that is exactly how a smart agency would infiltrate his organization. They would use the one guy Sonny would never suspect. And you know who actually does see a threat? Ric Lansing. Honestly, I never thought I would be sitting here defending Ric Lansing. But here we are. Rick is the only one using his brain right now. Rick sees Ethan walk in and ask for a job, and Rick's alarm bells go off immediately. Rick actually voices his concerns to Sonny. He tells him that Ethan might be infiltrating the organization. He suggests that Ethan was sent there on purpose to get close to Sonny and bring him down from the inside. So, what does Sonny do? He completely ignores Rick. He chooses to trust Ethan anyway. He hires him. He makes him a crucial part of his new plans to take down Jen Sidwell. It is a disaster waiting to happen. A complete and utter disaster. I am screaming at the screen at this point because it is so obvious that Ethan has an ulterior motive. You don't just show up after years away and immediately ask the local mob boss for a job without an endgame. So let's talk about that endgame. General Hospital spoilers are heavily suggesting that Ethan could be on the cusp of betraying Sonny. Is he going to provide intel to the authorities to bring the mob boss down? Yes. I really think yes. Think about it. Just think about it for a second. Ethan has always been a good guy despite his checkered past as a con artist. He is loyal to his family and his friends, so why would he suddenly decide he wants to be a mob enforcer? It makes zero sense, unless he doesn't have a choice. What if Ethan is locked in a situation he absolutely cannot escape? Has he been cornered by the WSB or the feds? We know the WSB is heavily involved in Port Charles right now. Ross Cullum is a WSB director. Jack Brennan is WSB. The agency is crawling all over this town, and they are always looking for new assets to do their dirty work. And the writers are practically hitting us over the head with the parallels to Jason Morgan. Remember when Jason came back in 2024, he was working for the feds. Why? Because they had damaging evidence against Carly. If Jason didn't work with them, Carly was going to head to federal prison. Jason sacrificed his entire life. Let everyone think he was dead just to protect Carly. The feds blackmailed him into being their asset. And recently, after the WSB arrested Jason and shipped him off under the false suspicion of shooting Ross, Cullum Jack Brennan actually made a comment about it. Brennan mentioned that he wouldn't be surprised if the WSB enticed Jason to become a full-time agent because of his specific skill set. The writers do not just drop lines like that for no reason. They were hinting at a pattern. They were showing us how the WSB operates. They find someone with a specific set of skills, they find their weak spot, and they squeeze until the person breaks. So, who is Ethan's weak spot? His mom, Holly Sutton. While Holly has supposedly turned against her old con artist ways, we all know what she did in the fall of 2024. She jacked those diamonds from Jen Sidwell. She stole from a very dangerous, very powerful man. And you better believe the WSB knows about it. Could the WSB be dangling evidence against Holly so that Ethan would do their bidding? Is Ethan betraying Sonny to keep his mother out of a maximum security federal prison? It makes perfect sense. It makes so much sense that I am honestly mad I didn't see it coming sooner. Ethan is doing exactly what Jason did. He is infiltrating the local mob boss's organization to gather evidence for the feds, all to protect the woman he loves. He is a good guy, forced to do bad things for the right reasons. It is classic soap opera storytelling. But here is where it gets really messy. Ethan also hates Jen Sidwell. Sidwell tortured his family. Sidwell almost wiped Holly off the map. Sidwell had Lucky Spencer in his clutches. Ethan wants Sidwell dead just as much as Sonny does. So maybe Ethan is playing a double game. Maybe he is using Sonny's resources to take down Sidwell, while simultaneously feeding the WSB enough breadcrumbs about Sonny to keep them happy. But you cannot play both sides forever. Eventually you have to make a choice. And if Ethan has to choose between Sonny Corinthos and Holly Sutton, he is going to choose his mother every single time. He will hand Sonny over to the feds on a silver platter if it means Holly goes free. I just can't believe Sonny is walking right into this trap. Ric Lansing warned him. We all see it. But Sonny is blinded by his loyalty to Luke Spencer's memory. Who actually believes this is going to end well? Nobody. Ethan is going to get in way too deep. He is going to form a bond with Christina again. He is going to be working side by side with Sonny to take down Sidwell, and then the WSB is going to call in their marker. They are going to demand the evidence to put Sonny away, and Ethan is going to have to do it. And what happens to Christina when she finds out the guy she was crushing on, the guy her dad trusted, was a rat the whole time? It is going to destroy her. She already has so much trauma, and now she is going to have this massive betrayal piled on top of it. I feel so bad for her already, and it hasn't even happened yet. But that is the tragedy of this show. They build these relationships up just to tear them down in the most painful way possible. And let's not forget about Lulu in all of this. Lulu asked him right out of the gate who he was running from. If she finds out he brought the WSB into their lives while she's desperately trying to hide Rocco from Ross Cullum, she's going to lose her mind. The WSB is the last thing Lulu needs anywhere near her family right now. Ethan is basically a walking time bomb for every single person he interacts with. So yeah, I am stressed. I am very stressed about where this is going. The writers are setting up a massive collision course between Sonny, Ethan, the WSB, and Sidwell. And honestly, I don't think everyone is going to make it out of this storyline in one piece. Ethan is playing a very dangerous game and the house always wins. We are in for a wild ride these next few weeks, you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, because I need to know I am not the only one losing sleep over this.